Okay, allegedly live.
Allegedly.
I have my doubts, but that's just me.
So, for this week's, not quite sure they're sponsors, but sure, why not?
Why not?
Among the Leaves tees for all your snarky t-shirt saying needs. The tinyurl.com/ Among the Leaves tees. You might want to make a note of that because you can't Google this. I have tried.
Really?
Yeah,
He needs
it
to fix
doesn't.
that.
No, it's a byproduct of the platform he's using.
Ah,
It's not search engine optimized, which is why if any of you authors out there have your websites set up and you click the do not search engine optimize, no SEO, don't do that.
no,
Bad idea.
because they mean it.
And for days like today where you don't know what the heck the weather is doing, King Harv's Imperial Coffees. Serve it hot, serve it cold, and tell King Harv that we sent you. Same
Iced
with
coffee.
same with the t-shirt folks, by the way.
Iced coffee is an abomination unto nugget.
It's all that keeps me going at this time of year. Speaking of this time of year, we are shockingly not going to hit triple digits today, or at least that's what they say. So, to support our air conditioning addiction, ko-fi.com/ the blanket fort, support the yes please.
We're in Texas.
Oh Lord. It yeah, no, yesterday wasn't supposed to be cooler, and it only hit 105, and by standards of the day before it was cooler.
I was telling Cedar earlier, we were discussing, fancy that, the weather.
Mm.
I was talking to her that this morning when got up and I was doing my stuff, I heard this absolutely adorable swearing coming from the bedroom. And I went in there, Sue was up, and Rita was showing me the weather, the radar, and you see these lovely storms up the Panhandle, and just rolling down the river valley just before they got here, poof.
Yep. Just outside tiny town, they are drying up and going away.
Rita is not happy about that.
Oh, and I mean, it's actually comfortable out there right now, because
It's lovely.
it's only high 80s, I think,
Yeah,
at the moment.
89, I think,
So it's actually really nice
and overcast.
after having gotten used to well over 100 for the last several weeks. Um, due for some weather. The problem is, Nancy, what I'm afraid of is that all of the weather will happen all at once.
That's generally the way it happens. I was telling Rita, I said, it's okay. The storms, where the storms are tracking is right along the watershed, so the river will come up, and the lakes around here will get a little extra bursts of water, which we're gonna need.
Well, and the thing is too, and this is an interesting, odd little pattern of Ian's story about the weather witch that cursed Iowa Park with a dome of protection from all the storms. Is that if I look at the community rain network that I'm part of, and I look at Wichita Falls, Ichipa is just a little 10 miles, 12 miles away from us, totally different rainfall than what we're having in Tiny Town.
Yeah,
Like several inches of precipitation difference. We are very dry in this little tiny town. I don't know why, but this is where we're at. So while yes, we're in drought, it's not as severe as my rain gauge makes it look, because when you're talking drought, you're looking at a much larger area than where we are.
I suspect we were a little wetter this time last year than we are this year.
Well, okay, going by my rain gauge, the last 2 years we have had 10 inches more of rain by this time this year. So this year I'm seeing just under 17 inches so far for my rain gauge for the total annual to date. And in 2024 we had about 10 inches more, and in 2025 we had about 11 inches more. So that's a significant difference. We are just below the 30-year average for rainfall in this area, whereas the last 2 years we've been well above the 30-year average. So by averages over the last 3 years, we're still above average, but averages don't help my garden none.
No, I sure don't. kind of glad that I didn't manage to get any peppers in the ground this spring because they would be a little warm.
Yep, my peppers are doing okay. My tomatoes have all died, mostly not just the dry, but the fact that I've got mealybugs so
Oh,
bad on everything.
really?
Yeah, they're on everything this year, and my main control for mealybugs is to spray them off with the jet setting on the hose because they have mealy, the little white substance that surrounds them is wax. So if you spray them with insecticidal soap, the soap is just repelled by that. The bug inside that protective suit doesn't think of it as a little white waxy ghillie suit. The bug is swimming along happily doing its thing, and
Just keep swimming,
yep.
swimming.
But if you spray it off with a hose, it knocks it off the plant, and it dies. So,
the first 2 years we were in this house, Rita grabbed my debit card, whatever, Smith's Garden Town, first spring and second spring, and she bought ladybug egg cases.
so you can get praying mantis egg
She
cases,
got
and
those
you
too.
can get ladybugs, just a packet of ladybugs.
She got a packet of ladybugs and a praying mantis egg case, the first spring and the second spring. And one, we tend to have a lot of ladybugs around the house. I haven't seen very many praying mantises, but we don't have a lot of stuff feeding on our plants.
Other than the praying mantis, the grasshoppers are not as bad this year as they have been the last 2 years,
Yeah.
which is interesting. One of my chili pekins, I had planted 2 chili pekins this spring, and one of them is fine. It's happy. It's doing its thing. It's having little fruits that are way too hot for me to want to eat them. The other one, the grasshoppers found and have stripped it down to just green little stems.
That would annoy me.
Looking.
That would annoy me something.
So, well, I mean, they're leaving the other one alone, but they're in totally different flower beds, way apart. So I don't know. They're weird, but yeah, no gardens. I mean, so last night I got to give a talk to the local library and a few attendees on collecting seeds, saving seeds for replanting. And so we were talking about gardening in Texas and learning how to garden in Texas. A couple of the ladies that were there don't necessarily garden a lot themselves, but they were talking about their mother and grandmother who had gardened a lot, and now they're learning how to do it for themselves. And but they had been Texas gardeners for a long time, so it was interesting to get their input into. I know the general gardening principles, but Texas is very different than any place else I've gardened. So
it's not just gardening.
And I got invited to come back and give other garden type talks, so that'll be fun.
A lot of the plants we've got in the ground seem to be, I won't say thriving. Boy, howdy, will not say thriving.
Hanging on by their yeah.
But all that lush English countryside that Rita's got on the porch in various pots.
Containers require a lot of watering at this time of year.
She's been watering them. I still think they've all turned up their little roots and died.
So one of the things about shade in Texas is that it's actually a good thing. I'm using my house to anyone's house has different microclimates that are affected by what side of the house you're on. So if you put something on the south side of a house, it's getting all the sun, all of it, unless you've got trees that are offering some shade. North side of the house, you're getting near constant shade. But in Texas, I have found that is the microclimate that things like my strawberries prefer. As soon as, and the strawberries, I'm letting them run out and fill in the flower bed. And you can tell as soon as they get past the shade line of the house, because there's like a line across the flower beds where the strawberries are kind of dry and crispy and curled up versus where they're still green and thriving. That sun hits them and they just go.
Try to refresh the link. Apparently, Frank is feeling twitchy this morning.
Playing games. Well, we're on a different platform than we usually are.
I
He's
wonder
panicking
if
and pushing buttons.
every time he hiccups, he actually accidentally punches the lock button.
Oh. So while we're talking about rain, I was saying we've got a couple of subjects we can address on this, and one of them is Nepal and the event that happened in Nepal, because that was not about rain. That was there's a couple of really interesting geologist takes on it that I found in different places. And what happened? They initially thought that there was an earthquake, and that he either broke loose a natural dam and the water came down the river, or that it broke loose part of a glacier up in the Himalayas, and that caused there to be a ripple cascade of avalanche and water. No, what actually happened is that the entire face of the glacier fell off,
Calves, so to speak.
slid a couple of kilometers, hit the next mountain because it went down into the river valley and slammed up against the wall of the next mountain. And that triggered a 5.2 earthquake. And then the whole thing turned and went down that river valley. And at that point, we're talking about water, mud, boulders that looked like they were probably 5 stories tall. There was a video of this absolutely huge boulder rolling down the river in all of that. And sadly, that was an event of biblical proportions as far as a wall of water a couple 100 feet tall. I saw some footage that was shot from a helicopter flying up the river valley today, and you can kind of tell perspective from the trees, and the trees that are clinging to the sides of the mountain there's 4 or 5 tree heights below them is just ripped raw, just completely flushed down and most of the people that live up there have to live in the river valleys. So the few people that are left are completely, it's like Helene on a bigger scale, because this wasn't a first world country to begin with. They're cut off from the outside world, and winter is coming very quickly in that area.
I didn't know a lot. I knew something had happened. We was calling it. And I was mentioning to Cedar that one of the things about earthquakes that always fascinated me was something called soil liquefaction, where the vibration doesn't actually liquefy the soil, but makes it act like it's a liquid.
Mm-hmm. And that's almost certainly part of what was happening with this.
And then you've got the soil, the dirt actually acting like it's fluid or becoming fluid, on top of the water from just coming down on top of the boulders and dirt being dragged along. Boy, howdy, damn.
Yeah, I had made a comment yesterday on X, because I'm up usually relatively early, and I check news sources, which these days for me is X, to see what's going on in the world. And I saw some of the initial videos starting to come out of Nepal, India, and China. So even before the big news outlets had picked it up. And someone based here in the U.S. had shared one of the videos that shows the wave coming up and over a building that's a few stories tall. And someone in the comments had said, he'd said something about survivors, and my response was, my guess is that there will be no survivors. No one you're seeing in that video made it.
Well,
and then the
humans are extraordinarily resilient. There's gonna be some.
Oh, there will be some survivors, and it's just not that particular video clip.
I got you.
The response to my comment was, "Oh, I'm sure if they took shelter in that big multi-story building, they'll be fine." And I didn't respond to him because I vaguely know who he is, and he's a veteran, and it's lovely that he's that innocent, and I want him to keep that hope, because the camera angle was from a camera a couple 100 feet above the event, and by the end of the video clip, the mud is knocking the camera sideways.
Yeah.
So no, exactly.
If
There's
you've
no
been
building left.
in a building, it simply means your body will be a little more recognizable if they recover it.
I'm gonna guess they aren't going to do a lot of recovery efforts. I mean, if you read about what was going on in Venezuela after the recent earthquake, there's not going to and there's not going to be enough left. When you're talking about this level of suspended silt and pebbles and stuff in a river, even my grandpa told me one time that if you dropped a body in the Tanana River, which is opaque because of the amount of suspended solids in it, that by the time it had gone 5 miles, there wasn't anything left, which was oddly specific. But this is even more so than that because of the liquefied soil thing. There's not going to be anything left to find.
Grit in a liquid medium is what we use in industrial applications to grind things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not surprising at all.
Yeah. It's frightening because, as somebody in the chat said, there's no way of predicting this. There's literally no way to know until events are already in motion, and I don't think there would have been enough time to warn people to get far enough away, even if they could have gotten far enough away, because again, narrow river canyons, there's no place else to go.
Bernoulli effect. Yet the narrower it is, the faster everything moves.
Yeah. And I saw something else, again, geology stuff, because it interests me. There was a flood out of the Congo River, and then they were looking at it as the debris hit the ocean. It actually picks up speed. So the wave of debris, the underwater landslide, which is really cool to see the satellite imagery of it. Speaking of which, you can see satellite imagery before and after of this event in Nepal.
Oh, okay.
And that is, wow. I mean, because it's satellite imagery. It's commercially available satellite imagery. It's not terribly granular, but you can tell how big of a swath just that initial canyon where the glacier broke off and went and slammed down into the next mountain.
When somebody was talking, when we and I were looking for a house in Wichita, there's an earth dam that holds Lake Gordon. It ain't much, but there's an earth dam. And she had this house she just loved. And I told her, I said, no, baby. Why not? I said, if I have to look up at the top of the dam from where I live, that is unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, and people are in multiple places now. I have seen people say that this is just a precursor of what we might see if the Three Gorges lets loose.
Oh, good Lord. No.
Now, I have not looked at the topography around Three Gorges. Nepal was bad partly because it's very steep. So you have the velocity of this mass. Three Gorges, I think, it's absolutely going to be bad because it's a lot more heavily populated. But I'm not sure you're going to have the same velocity because I don't know the topography well enough.
You won't have velocity, but what you will have is simple, overwhelming mass of water.
Yeah.
I think if Three Gorges gives, it's been a while since I studied this. You all might be surprised, but I hyper-focused on it a while ago back. The least amount of flooding along the floodplain will be a minimum of 6 feet deep.
Yeah.
And the interesting part comes in that floodplain has become a major tech and manufacturing industry for China, with the attendant number of people moving there. When, I say when, not if, when Three Gorges goes.
And that is correct. It should be when. Kermit brought that up as well.
Yeah. When it goes, not only will you have literal millions of people suddenly gone or dead, a significant engine for the world's economy will wind up somewhere in the Pacific. Not to mention, Wuhan is on the floodplain downstream of Three Gorges, including their labs.
Multiple labs. So Three Gorges, and for that matter, Nepal, although again, Nepal, because it's lightly populated, this will be a lesser knock-on effect, which doesn't make it any less tragic for the people that are caught in it, is going to be the aftermath of it. The people that die abruptly in the event don't have to deal with what comes after, which is the contamination, the disease, starvation, without running water and electricity. There's very little way to get to people that might be trapped, still alive, but nobody's going to get to them. That's what was happening in Venezuela. The rich were commandeering all the heavy equipment, so they knew there were people trapped in collapsed buildings, but they couldn't get to them, and they couldn't get the equipment because it was all being pulled to the people that could afford or use force to take it for their uses.
If you don't want to sleep well, ponder the fact that the people towards the end of the Three Gorges floodplain will know that the water's coming. And by the time it gets there, it will have spread out so much they won't be able to get away. No matter what they do, they'll know it's coming. They can start driving, they can start running, they can whatever the hell, and they still won't get away before it hits them.
Yep. Yeah, and the 359 bodies recovered and 910 people still out of contact. Again, it's a lightly populated area. Those numbers might actually be close to.
Also, they're in areas where, and I hate to say this, they're in areas where there's a certain fuck the government mentality, and they don't report numbers.
It's fascinating if you look at global cultures. And I think I might have initially picked this up reading Thomas Sowell writing about global cultures. People that live up in the mountains tend to have a unifying mindset no matter where they are in the world. As in, nobody else wants this, so we're going to go up here where everybody leaves us alone. And also, we have the high ground now.
them hill folk don't typically they don't cooperate with the government well.
Yes, hillbillies are everywhere.
Apparently, if you have a hill, there'll be at least one Billy on the top of it.
And yes, they are still fixing stuff from Helene. There's a couple of geology channels on YouTube. One of them came to my attention because I was trying to figure out what the heck happened in Helene. And he looks at, there's publicly available LiDAR, which is fascinating because you can actually get a look at the geology without the forest cover and everything. And what he does in a lot of his videos is he goes to wherever there's interesting geological things, and he looks at it and talks about it, and looking at some of the historical landslips, landslides, stuff like this, where people have then moved in later, much later, or not even that much later, and built on top of where it was going to do it again, because that's what humans do. They are resilient and forgetful.
I'm thinking of Pompeii and remembering that a little while after Pompeii got wiped out, they were already rebuilding. Somebody said something, and I was, Three Rivers control structure. Somebody in the comments mentioned that when Three Rivers on the Mississippi goes, and it should have gone a long time ago, and hits the Mississippi, it laughs at puny human control, but it is going to go sooner or later. The interesting part about that is that point at Three Rivers is where the Mississippi and Atchafalaya. And the Mississippi has decided that the Atchafalaya is the quickest way to the Gulf, and it ain't wrong. And the humans said, you will not And we have, for a while, been able to keep the Mississippi downstream of Three Rivers in its bank, including New Orleans, by the way. When Three Rivers finally fails, um, and the Mississippi goes down the Atchafalaya, New Orleans is going to be a world of hurt. New Orleans is going to suck because it's going to be a non-navigable swamp.
The hubris
Old
of
River,
humans
thank you, Old River.
is that we think we can control the environment that we live in, and we cannot. I mean, this is why I'm so skeptical of the anthropogenic climate change
Right.
claims. Is there climate change? Absolutely.
We're coming out of an ice age.
The planet is changing constantly. It's
We are
sometimes
literally
in predictable ways.
coming up,
sometimes not
still
so much.
coming up out of an ice age.
Mhm.
Things get warm when you come out of an ice age.
So the thing is, though, that we think we can control a river. We think we can control the climate.
Hubris.
The thing where I think it's Great Britain has been trying to do cloud seeding to cause rain, which I'm pretty sure we already tried here in the U.S. and it didn't work. But also, what happens if you do make that work? Do you think you can control the consequences of that?
Rita brought when we had breakfast and we would drive around like we do, and she brought up cloud seeding, and a lot of people get wrapped around the axle about that. We the U.S. Some of these days we did cloud seeding. If I remember right, and she will correct me if I'm wrong, silver nitrate and calcium chloride.
That does sound right.
And yeah, we can make it rain, but not reliably, and not if Mother Nature says "fuck you." There's been cloud seeding. There's still targeted cloud seeding to this day, although I don't think they're using silver nitrate and calcium chloride anymore. There's still cloud seeding to this day. And all that cloud seeding does is it replicates the dust that gets to the atmosphere that starts moisture accumulating into raindrops.
Yep.
Not a big deal.
If there's moisture in the atmosphere to accumulate,
yeah, there's got to be
which
moisture
is the
first.
problem.
Yeah.
If you're in a drought, yeah. So things do grow better when the climate warms up, which is an oversimplification of basically
everything.
The more carbon dioxide there is in the air, the happier plants are.
It's plant food.
Which is why we've now gone from carbon sequestering to, oh no, you can't plant all the forests to do this because the forests do better when there's more carbon in the. Yeah, no.
Rita,
they keep going around in circles.
Rita and I were having lunch out at the airport where she works, and this pilot walked in. He was wearing a shirt that said, had the NASA logo across the top, said, "Still not flat. We checked again." And he told us, I was laughing at the shirt, told him I wanted one. Apparently, he has a lot of friends that believe in flat Earth. So I told him about Concord. I said, there's a company called Concord Aerospace, and they have a functioning switch that said it's labeled contrails, activate, deactivate. And he started laughing. He said, "I've got one in my plane. I'm hooking up so the lights work, so I can take my flat Earth buddies up, look at them, and flip the switch."
Yeah. Humans are strange. Humans are very strange. And it's one of those things that if you go back and you look at history, you start to realize that people are both somewhat unchanging. I was watching Max Miller's video on making an Assyrian cake from the same era of E.A. Nasser's copper complaint tablets. I've actually seen there's a cuneiform tablet that has what's being called the world's oldest written down recipe on it. I've actually seen that. It's in the Yale Peabody Museum. And when I was out visiting my son last year, I got to see that, and I have pictures of it because I was just like, oh my gosh, the first cookbook. And I find cuneiform tablets beautiful.
Yes.
Just that they are. And but Ian Esser, the reason we know so much about him is that his house was excavated, and one of the rooms in his house had a whole bunch of letters in it. as clay tablets.
Apparently, he was collecting trophies. Apparently,
He
that
kept
wasn't
all his bad reviews. I mean, what author wouldn't do that? We throw out the good ones, the bad ones we hang on to and let them shape us.
There is an old saying that as long as your name is on the tongues of men, you never die.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet Ian and Sarah is getting really tired. Be like, shut up, let him sleep. 5,000 years. They can 5,000 years. They can't let it go.
But it struck me as, because I mean, just watching the video kind of tripped off this train of thought of what we do know about where we do have written records from thousands of years ago. There are things that resonate still with even the modern man with his technology. And I mean, we're not going to be remembered so well as the man with the clay tablets with his name written in them, because our media is perishable. Books burn and fall apart and decompose. And electronic media is even more perishable than books. So, yeah, I mean,
some of the comments were saying that history doesn't repeat, but humans rhyme. And see, here's some of the clay tablets. My father and I were flying over the Sahara one time, and we found a mesa that had some. There were structures on the mesa, so we landed, and we're looking around, and he found a place. He found a tablet, and the corner had broken off, and it's somewhere where somebody had obviously, looked like somebody had been sitting. So he looks around, he picks up a chunk of rock about the same size as that corner would have been.
mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Fuck!" and threw it. And then we climbed down off the mesa and went to where, and within, I'd say, a 20-foot radius of where it landed, he found the broken part of the tablet.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of tablets and libraries, it reminded me, someone commented on the Nepal thing that in one of the really, really high temples, monasteries, not Christian, but nonetheless monasteries, there's a huge library up there.
Oh, yeah.
Most of it's not translated. The person that was talking about on an X was saying it was not in the path of the event.
God.
But that the majority of these texts have never been translated because nobody is bothered. There's no will to do it, is how he put it, which is interesting, because the people that I know of with more than a touch of autism would be all over that if they had access.
There are. I love Sahara, the movie Sahara. I realize that bombed the box office and people. I liked it.
Box office bombs are sometimes good movies.
I thought it was a Clive Cussler based on his book, and I thought that Matthew McConaughey did a great job. There were some changes that I thought actually fit. I love that movie. There's a scene in it where he goes into a mosque and asks to see the library, and he's shown back there's this room of shelves with scrolls. There are Coptic monasteries on the east side of Africa the same way. And I asked an old gentleman one time, I said, "What is in these?" He says, "We don't know." Me, it's a library. I want to go read. He said, yeah. Nobody ever. Yeah. We store them, and nobody ever. There are
libraries of books that are never read.
That all they do is add more, and nobody ever goes in to read them, which right. I think is both a tragedy and an opportunity.
Yes, Greg, you are correct, and this applies to both the libraries that he's talking about and the libraries up in Nepal. No guarantee that anyone still knows the language.
No.
That won't stop our flavor of nerd, because look at Minoan Linear A and Linear B. Somebody somewhere is going to obsess until they figure it out.
I have a meme that Rita gave me. I printed it and framed it, and it's a frog, and the frog is saying, "'Twas the tism, my lord." And I think archaeology is my passion, and I really wanted a degree in archaeology. And I hung around with archaeologists a lot. And every time I think of that frog, "'Twas the Tism," I think of all the archaeologists I've ever met.
Absolutely. So I got really into Egyptian languages and history through a fiction series. So Elizabeth Peabody. Peabody? No, wait, I'm not sure. Anyhow, um, really fun murder mysteries set in Egypt with an Egyptologist and a very tomboy lady. And I went to the library because I wanted to figure out what they had on ancient Egypt and learning how to read hieroglyphics, which I was really interested in. And the library let me take. They had very old 1800s editions of Petrie's series in like the basement in the library. They brought them up by a dumbwaiter. And let me check them out one at a time, and they actually let me take them out of the library home with me. And I didn't successfully learn how to read hieroglyphic. I didn't have the enough resources or enough motivation to, but I love that, and it just shows you. Thank you, Amelia Peabody, written by Elizabeth Peters. I knew it was wrong. I just couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. One of my absolute favorite characters. Stop reading like halfway through the series because after that it gets weird. Um, so many series are like that. This is why I write trilogies. But it was an example of what fiction can do for a kid because it can light your fire on real world scenarios, languages, um, and yeah, no, it's one of those things of you don't know what's going to flip someone's switch on, but also libraries that had these old books and they made them available to. I mean, I was a teenager at the time, but still, um, it's really cool. It is just, and it's something we're losing because libraries are no longer what they used to be.
When I was TDY to Aberdeen Proving Grounds, they had a museum, a fantastic military museum there, and the TISM reared its ugly head, and I would spend my weekends at the museum because they had um, scanned soldiers' letters to microfiche
Oh,
going all the way back to the Revolutionary War,
yeah.
and I would it got to where I would show up Saturday morning, head around the back, and this became a ritual. The the curator, lovely lady, would reach out, take the a packet of beef jerky out of my pocket, say, "You can pick this up when you leave," and I'd go back and start reading microfiche letters. Um, was the tism, my lord. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and
Yeah.
and eye opening. If you ever get to do
Oh,
that, eye
yeah.
opening.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian says a library unused is potential knowledge. A library used is kinetic
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. I like that. I like that a lot. Um, the oh dear lord, the tonal matrix language actually spoken. Yeah. So Maggie Hogarth does conlangs, which is I don't even know how to describe it. It's like making up languages, but it's more than that. I mean, she makes up the script, and it's very much like Tolkien did with Elvish, of creating a language and the script that went with it, the entire alphabet. So conlang is constructed language. Excuse me, I do know what it means.
So what you're telling me is Maggie Hogarth is making up languages.
Yeah.
'Twas the tism, my lord.
Well, and I mean, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Um, and I love seeing it. It's not something I have the slightest urge to do myself, but I love that people do that because she's hardly alone. She was excited today on X. Well, she was excited today on X for something else that we'll come to in a second, but she was excited today on X because she found out there's a podcast that focuses on conlangs and people that make up these things. The other reason she was excited is because she can finally announce that she's editing a Space Marines anthology. Yay! We're so happy.
Yes, we are.
I just love getting to see her get recognized and appreciated for what she's done. So,
Somebody upstream in the comments said that while Clive Cussler hated Sahara, his fans loved it.
mm,
I will never forgive uh, Clive Cussler, even long may he rest, for shutting down because Matthew McConaughey had planned on a just doing his books.
oh,
Yes, and
that would have been cool.
Oh, that would have made Clive Cussler so much money. He should just shut up and cash the checks. Because watching Sahara, and I'll probably watch it again. One of the movies we have at the house. And thinking of what Matthew McConaughey and what's his name that played Al Giordino could have done with that, um, would have been a franchise that would have been a money making machine.
Yeah, Inca Gold would have been a fantastic one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right. I don't know. I mean, maybe someday in the future. I mean, not necessarily Clive Cussler, but maybe someday in the future we'll get to a point where people can make movies without having to be constrained to what Hollywood wants.
Well, this wasn't necessarily Hollywood.
No, I realize that in his case.
Hollywood actually, under Matthew McConaughey, actually took and made something better. I don't mind. I like Clive Cussler book for the most part. I like Clive Cussler books. Matthew McConaughey took and cleaned out the stuff that needed to be cleaned out. Made a good book into an excellent movie. Quick diversion. People are talking about tonal languages. She was talking about tonal languages.
They were talking about it in the chat. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't think of these things on my own.
Speaking as a male, a 59-year-old male with a active and kinetic history, tonal languages suck when you can't differentiate tones because you're deaf.
I do not have a kinetic history, but I do have some slight hearing loss as I get on in years. And I don't. It's interesting to listen to, but I don't hear language in it. I can listen to a lot of different languages. I can listen to and kind of sort of pick out what's said and such. But there's certain languages just not, nope, well, not words there. I'm not hearing words.
Your 4, 6, 8, 20 different tones are having to compete with the freedom bells I'm hearing right now.
So I Am Legend. I think I've read the story, but I actually remember the movie as being kind of enjoyable. Not, I don't have any. The movie. I don't have any like strong. I didn't like memories, the dog part,
but because me, I didn't like the dog part.
Yeah.
Don't kill the dogs. But the movie, I thought the movie was better than the book.
Speaking of dogs, I am not seeing stair-step dog training in the chat today. Well, I didn't do the usual announce it all over the place that this is where we were going to be, so that could be it. But I have a question for him, so if he sees this later, ping me. You know where to find me. Yeah, no one likes the dog part. Yeah. Dogs. So a little while back on social media, I was doing an experiment in guerrilla marketing. And I was basically posting like a little quote from one of my own books with a comment about it. And one of them from the first Tanager book was the comments that Peter, who's a character in the book, has about why dogs didn't go to space at the same time humanity did. Cats made the cut for the first wave into space. And then dogs came along later, which is what I was writing in Tanager. And the comments on that were interesting because there's a lot of people that actually agree that's how this would happen. Cats use litter boxes. What are a dog going to use? Mm-hmm. And I found the conversation fascinating of just the difference in how people think about it.
Well, there's historical precedent because on the ships that
Trade ships.
Spray ships, or
Yep.
the exploration trips, the
Right.
ships that left from England.
They would take cats.
Every one of
but
them
not
had
dogs.
at least one cat on there.
Sometimes they did take dogs too.
But
Cats
far and above, most of them had a cat.
Ship's cat is a thing. There's been some really funny things I've seen recently about ship's cats. The British Navy still evidently to this day has ship's cats, which I love.
God, I should hope so.
I don't think the U.S. ships do that, which is a shame.
Well,
I mean,
it's not just a shame. Rats, for some reason. Well, rats spread. A rat, all descended from a rodent found on the banks of a river in Vietnam, much like chickens. And they spread to every continent on ships. That's how rats spread, was on grain ships, and they climbed on ships. What the hell, and went. And somewhere in every one of their little ratty brains, they head for ships. That includes today. Have you ever seen a cruise ship dock? Watch where the ropes come out from the cruise ships. You will, if you sit there and watch, there will be at least one rat come down that rope from a modern cruise ship.
So here's the thing, and this was part of a conversation that spun into my Discord recently. We've got a gentleman in there who's really interested in dogs as D&D types. So like what breeds would be the paladin or the bard or whatever. But the conversation that came up was that rats, vermin on ships, cats would go along as pest control. The problem with that is that there are a lot of dogs that are bred for pest control, including my recent acquisition of a dog. I did not want a dog. He was supposed to be my husband's dog. He thinks he's my dog. He's half Schipperke, and Schipperke is a Dutch boat dog.
Yep, it was designed for boats.
Yep, and to rat on boats. He's part terrier. I mean, my little guy is half rat terrier, who is very much, obviously, that's what they were bred for. And so rat terrier and Schipperke cross, all ratter, and he's an agile, fast little guy who has declared war on the squirrels in my backyard, which I'm grateful for.
When you think about it, though, let's sit here and think about it. Everybody's seen a cat. Now, cat, you turn loose, rats. Cat wanders off, this is key looking, wanders off and deals with the rats. Every ratting breed, you hold them and they're vibrating. And you turn them loose and they are doing 90-mile-an-hour laps around the ship, falling in the water, having to be rescued, running across people, where the cat is going after. He is going after rats. The dog is going after rats.
This is where Schipperkes and rat terriers are different than Jack Russells or some of the other ratting dogs. Both of them are quite laid back as a breed. They're bred for it because rat terriers were bred for farmhouses. So you didn't want a small dog underfoot that you're tripping on all day long with high energy. They're fairly laid back little dogs. Schipperkes, bred for being on boats, are again fairly laid back little dogs. My uncle and my late aunt had Schipperkes for the last, 20, 30 years. And they're all like that. Schipperkes, and this is why Tux is like this. Schipperkes are very one person. They bond to a person. And Tux's job in life, he has decided, is to guard me. So he lays behind my chair with his butt to my chair, facing the doorway of the studio on watch.
I watch occasionally across my my recommendations are y'all been seeing. I've been posting a lot of horse stuff. I'm back on a horse kick, but I get occasional farm ratting, and you'll generally have there'll be a guy with a pack of dogs, and the farmer will bring his forklift in and lift up a pallet of whatever,
Whoosh.
and the dogs lose their little minds. And you'll see cats go, oh, look, more rats. And they'll want after rats. But the dogs are just like little Tasmanian devils. I can't imagine that on a sailing ship. The cat I can imagine.
Yeah.
The dogs are.
That's why when I was like, because we didn't want a high energy dog. So when Mom was like, I have these little Skipper Key Rat Terrier crosses, and I'm thinking Jack Russell Terriers, and I'm like, oh no. But no, they're chill. I mean, Tux sleeps most of the day. He's just sacked out next to me.
He's still a puppy.
He's 18 months old. He is a full-grown small dog. He's only 17 pounds, but he's chill. Now he loves to be able to go outside and run around out there and bark at the neighborhood dogs.
But these videos there are dogs running everywhere and rats flying and dogs ricocheting off and bits of rat flying and then you got cats going, got one, and then the dog is, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that on a ship. Maltese and Iggy mix. Wow. Wow. Posted a horse video. It is a absolutely gorgeous, and it's this, and I don't think people realize that saddle's empty. There ain't nobody in the saddle, but it's this absolutely gorgeous roan. And I think a cow said something a little mouthy, because the horse pivots, the head comes around, locks on, and the ears go back, and you can see it going in for the bite. And there is nobody on that mare. I guarantee you it's a mare. And she is putting that cow in his place. I posted on Facebook a little while ago was that a cutting horse was what happened when you downloaded the Predator pack, the Predator install for a horse. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying really hard. There's 20 acres outside of town, and it's very, very. They were very that it was VA loan compatible, and there's a little part of me that's 20 acres outside of town. The other part looks at Rita and goes, "I can't deal with that many goats." So nope, can't afford it. Can't afford it. Can't afford it.
Oh. No, I was interested because the whole conversation about dogs and space travel, and will dogs go into space with humans? And I think they will. I just think it'll be different ways and different meanings than we necessarily think of dogs these days. And coming back to Nepal, dogs get used a lot for things like search and rescue.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Dogs and horses. Those are the two critters on this planet that we have tinkered the most in their DNA.
And dogs want to make humans happy. Cats, not so much.
Cats don't. But dogs and horses are, I think, the most modified critters on this planet. And humans deliberately bred and modified them and to be helpmates.
Yep.
And if you don't think it, I've mentioned that horses are, somebody called a horse an ATV with an attitude, or an ATV with opinions. And I have noted that they are actively suicidal.
Yes.
But they are people. Humanity couldn't be where it is now without dogs and horses. It really couldn't.
Yeah. Dogs are fairly separate from wolves. I've met a few wolves, and dogs and wolves have different operating systems.
Oh yeah.
So
I posted another video of a horse obviously cutting horse has backed himself into a stall. Now it's a roping horse. And it's a horse. When I say roping horse, it's a horse used for competition rodeos, roping competitions. And you can see this horse practicing taking off. He doesn't have a rider.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody actually that's got the starting trip rope, and he is actively practicing getting off the blocks after a cow that's not there. Um, that level of self training says a lot about horses and what we've done to them.
Well, I mean, I was 6, maybe 7, and I was out in the field. They'd put me up on Dad's horse, Moke, who was a retired cow pony. Problem is, nobody told Moke he was retired. So he saw some cows about in the corner of that field and suddenly stopped listening to me because I'm a peanut on top of this 18-hand horse. And so I'm just hanging on for dear life, trying to make sure that the reins didn't fall down and I don't fall off the saddle. And he very neatly gathered up those cows, presented them to the gate where he thought they should go through, and all but let his tongue hang out and pant for approval. I mean, he did his job. Nobody told him to do that. I certainly didn't. I was trying to get him to stop.
I did day work for beer money when I first started being deputy sheriff because it didn't pay worth shit. So I would day work on ranches till they generally paid cash and they didn't pay bad. I showed up at a ranch one day and the ranch manager was standing there like this. It's like, what? He said, go get that fucking horse. I said, what? I looked over and there was, I had this Appaloosa quarter horse cross. And he was happy. He happily had the entire herd of cows that we needed to move through where the insect repellent and so we could classify them and check them. He had them in a corner, and he was not letting them out of the corner. I was like, go get that fucking horse.
Yeah, horses are definitely characters and personalities.
We dinked with our we dinked with our program pretty hard.
Yeah, we have.
I wish we'd made horses a little more durable.
It's kind of amazing that horses are as resilient as they are, even though
they're incredibly resilient until they're not.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say.
It's a good day. I'll die.
Well, and the other thing too is we kept goats growing up. Goats are the same way. Everybody is like, oh, goats chewing tin cans, feed them on anything. No. Goats are incredibly delicate. Oh, Lord.
Rita has discovered this YouTube channel devoted to Frank the feral goat. And Frank lives down near Austin.
Okay.
And Frank has a person that's trying to keep Frank happy. So the video, this guy Frank apparently had a heavy bag that Frank was beating the hell out of, and he got a horn hooked in it, and so his person decided that he was going to make Frank an opponent that was a little more tough. So he took these ATV tires and stacked them and hung them off the frame so that Frank had something to hit. So Frank was hitting it, and Frank's person thought, yay! Well, it didn't take very long for Frank to tear up. So person takes the tire dummy down and makes it where Frank cannot tear it up. Puts it back up. Frank looks at it and then starts destroying the frame.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, horses, it's a good day. I think I'll get bloat. The hell!
Yeah. Could be either, Kermit, eating cement. Could be either a goat or a horse.
Will this kill me? Nom, 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 nom.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, let them in a pasture, then there is something they shouldn't eat. That's the first thing they're going to eat.
First thing they head for.
Yep. So.
And people, non-horse people drive me nuts. There's another video. I think I posted it. This horse is somewhere between foal and grown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Teenage horse.
I will guarantee you it's a she. She's laying on her side, her head stuck under the fence, and she's just eating. She's
Yep.
gnaw, and I was like, um, my first, I looked at it, that's a good looking foal. Knock it off, you goober! Get it off of the fence, you goober! And then I looked at the rest of the comments. Everybody's losing their minds. You got to feed that horse. You're starving that horse. Oh my God, it's
good God.
stuck. It's like, no. Get off of the fence, you goober!
Yeah, I have seen a goat jump through a picture window, big glass window. She could see us inside. We were inside visiting with family, and she had been tethered outside, and the tether was just a little longer than it should have been. And she objected to being separated from her herd, so she came inside where the herd was. My poor grandmother's window.
I got called for a unspecified help at a little bitty farmhouse just outside of Clarendon. And I showed up, got out of the car, looked up. There's a goat on the roof, looking at me. Okay, so go up, knock on the door, and say, "Sheriff's office." I suppose you called up. She said, "Oh God, don't look at him. You'll just don't look at him. You'll encourage him. I need help with some plumbing." It's like, okay. Oh God, don't look at him. You'll just encourage him.
On that note, we have wasted an hour of your time.
Oh yeah, this went in so many different directions.
Well, it usually does. I figured if we started us off with a solid topic of something, we'd then rabbit trail happily down to something else. Horses and goats, evidently.
Thursday, right? Okay.
Today is Thursday.
Tuesday.
No.
Tuesday, Jim will still be gone.
Yes.
So it'll be me and Cedar.
Yes, unless we can rope a guest
or whoever.
Yeah, somebody.
But tell everybody that it's here at North Texas, not on Jim's channel.
Yeah.
And it'll be here for.
I will try to remember to post it around that it's going to be here on Tuesday on the various social medias. So I forgot today.
All right, we'll see y'all Tuesday. My calendar's all mixed up. We'll see y'all Tuesday. Y'all be safe.
Bye.